Welcome to Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a lot of great stuff planned for you, but on Tuesday, the coaches talk. So we'll give you an opportunity to hear some of what they're saying. We'll start with Gamecock coach Shane Beamer, who previews the matchup with Vanderbilt, a team he says that seems to be getting a little bit better as the season goes on. Here are some comments from Coach Frank Beamer as his team is set for a homecoming matchup with the Vanderbilt Commodores. Kickoff on Saturday is at 4 o'clock. Here's the coach.
I got an improving Vanderbilt team coming in here for sure. Got a lot of respect for Clark Lee, their new head football coach, somebody that I've followed his career for a long time and think a lot of personally. Guy that played at Vanderbilt and takes great pride in that program, that's been around winning programs, coming from Notre Dame. Somebody that had gotten to know and bumped into a couple times on the recruiting trail throughout my career. I think the first time I met him was at DeMatha, Marshawn Lloyd's alma mater. He was up there, and we were both in the school at the same day or same time, and I met him. And then during when COVID hit last spring and everything got shut down, myself, like a lot of coaches, really took that time to network and develop professionally. And I've talked a lot about how I had some conversations with Pete Limbo during that time and getting to know him and just talking football, and did the same thing with Clark as well, and think a lot of him and his stamp on that program is very evident. They're playing with great effort. Defensively, they start 3 seniors in the secondary. The length that they have on their defense and size is will be a problem, as a matchup for a lot of teams, a matchup problem. They're Sam / nickel, whereas we play with David Spalding and Carlins Patel at that Sam linebacker / nickel position. They play with 2 guys that look like Jordan Strawn out there, 6'4", 230-pound type guys. We certainly, against Kentucky has some defensive ends, outside linebackers with length, and Vanderbilt does as well, but bigger, 6'5" and 6'6". Their top 4 defensive ends. So it'll be a big challenge for our offensive tackles and our tight ends handling Vanderbilt's size and length on the perimeter. And then the physicality they play with. They play really, really hard, and that's very obvious when you turn on the tape. Offensively, 2 of the top 10 receivers in the SEC in receptions per game are on Vanderbilt's roster. So they've got some receivers with size as well. I know they got their best running back hurt, but the guy that's playing for them right now breaks a lot of tackles and is a really physical runner. And Stanford, one thing about Stanford, I know Stanford plays good defense, and Vanderbilt lined up and rushed the ball for 247 yards against Stanford earlier in the season. 247 yards against Stanford. And we certainly haven't been our best at stopping the run against Kentucky and Tennessee the last 2 weeks. So it's a big challenge for our defense to play gap sound football, play physical football, create some turnovers, which we didn't do in Knoxville. And we'll play well. And then special teams wise, always a challenge. These guys do a nice job. As a matter of fact, this special teams coordinator at Vanderbilt worked for Coach Limbo when Coach Limbo was the head coach at Ball State. So we've been kidding him. It's a little bit of a teacher versus pupil matchup this weekend. So certainly he's ready for this one, and we've got to put together a great plan to go compete and try and win that phase against these guys at all. They had opportunities against Florida last weekend, 14-0 going in the score, and they turned the ball over. And then right before the half, they got a 1st and goal on the 1-yard line and aren't able to punch it in for a touchdown. You get a score there, and who knows what happens. So they're a team that's improving by the week. That's obvious when you turn on the video, and has a lot of fight in them. On the road against Colorado State early in the season, down 14-0, and came back and won the football game. So we expect another physical 4-quarter battle this Saturday in Columbia, and off to a great start in practice this week. And looking forward to Saturday.
All right, so there's some comments from Coach Shane Beamer as the Gamecocks look to get their first SEC win in a calendar year as they welcome in Vanderbilt on Saturday. A couple of other notes. He stressed to the Gamecock fans that if you have tickets and you're not planning on using them, please donate them. That's just... I don't get all that. I think there is a section of folks that are saying, you know what? I'm not going to go out to a game in the middle of a pandemic. There are people that feel that way. If you don't want to go, you have the choice of not going. Don't go if you don't want to go. I think that's affecting in some spots. Now, if you go to a school where every week they're in the hunt for a national title, they're going to sell out. If you have a marquee opponent like Texas A&M had this past weekend with Alabama coming to town, they're going to sell out. But it may be asking a lot for a fan base to get jacked up for a Vanderbilt matchup, the worst team in the conference. I don't know. Maybe there's that. I understand where Coach Beamer is coming from. He wants that big-time atmosphere like they had with the Kentucky game. But it's just asking a lot to say, you know what? We're gonna try to recycle that for Vanderbilt. It's just tough. Jimmy says it's homecoming. Thank you, sir. Anyway, so we'll take some comments on that in just a moment, but I've got to play this from Dabo Swinney today. He was asked about the transfer portal. Again, it seems like he's asked about the transfer portal every week. You know, I don't understand why Dabo Swinney takes this stuff personally. If he weren't a college football coach, I don't think he could have a social media account. I mean, I don't think he has one anyway. But he couldn't converse with people, I don't think. I think he's one of those guys that, would do great in a crowd. You can go and chat with him and everything else. But if it was just one-on-one people trying to troll him, I don't think he would do well. I really don't. He was asked about the transfer portal, and I'm going to play you his comments and where he basically goes off on it.
Boy, the weekly transfer portal question. Man, is it like who's got the short stick this week? I mean, you're next week? Okay. All right. Next week. I wouldn't do anything differently. That means to doing something differently, that means I wouldn't have taken one of the kids that we took. I love the players we've got here. So I don't, injuries are part of game. There's nothing you can do. I mean, and you can only sign so many players, so if you can't we all get 85. That's it. That's all we get. And, if we were going to, sign 2 running backs, well, guess what? We signed 2 running backs. Should I have gone to the transfer portal and take a veteran over Shipley and Maffa because Shipley got hurt? I'm not. Maybe you would if you're the head coach and, you can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't change anything. And again, I'm not opposed to the transfer portal. I'm not some anti-transfer portal, deal. It's just, and if I was at another school, another university, that might be all I sign as transfer portal guys. If I was at some school where you couldn't recruit the really best of the best high school kids, I probably would sign only transfer. And that's what a lot of people are going to do, which I think is sad. But that's what because it's going to cost a lot of high school kids opportunities that they would have had at other places. But if I was at another school and I couldn't recruit the type of kids that we can recruit here at Clemson, then I probably wouldn't sign high school kids, But I'm at I'm at Clemson, and we've been able to sign, great kids that we believe in, and but we're not even a year into this thing, and as I've said like 100 times already, and I keep getting this same question every single week. I've said this 100 times. If we need to use the portal, we'll use it, but I'm not going to just do something just to do something. So, I don't know why everybody keeps asking me that. The transfer portal has always been around. It's just been grad guys, but there's not been anybody from a grad transfer standpoint that has been able to come in here that I felt like, or any of us felt like, could start here. And so we'd rather take the high school kid. That's been our philosophy here. I think it's worked pretty good. There's been a lot of things that y'all have asked me over the years, why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? And, I think we've done all right. So we're not 3-2 because we haven't signed somebody from the transfer portal. Give me a break. We won 29 in a row. We lost to Joe Burrow. He was a transfer quarterback. So should I have taken Joe Burrow over Trevor Lawrence or traded him out or what? You know, I mean, it's not why we are 3-2. That's for sure. So yeah, I don't regret the kids that we've signed at all. You know, I love them 4 linemen we've signed. I think they're all going to be good players, and you know, but moving forward, we're not even a year into now. You have freshmen, sophomores, and juniors that can leave and be eligible right away. So that's a game changer for every coach out there. And that's going to change recruiting forever. I don't see any scenario whatsoever for any school that they're not going to have to deal with the portal or sign somebody from the portal somewhere along the way. I don't care who it is, Clemson or whatever, because when kids leave in May and all of a sudden you have gaps in your roster, there's no high school kids to recruit in May. You know, there are none. So you don't have you're kind of forced to have to do that. And so, as I've said 100 times, if we need it, we'll use it, you know, for our benefit, but it won't be any different. We'll get the very best of the best, and we'll get kids that fit our program. But we have not needed it to this point. And if all of a sudden, again, we get gaps in our roster, or all of a sudden we start doing a terrible job of evaluation and things like that, then, you know, things could change.
Coach Dabo Swinney at his press conference this afternoon, actually it was this morning, talking about the transfer portal, and they haven't really taken the high-profile player yet in the transfer portal. I don't know if I can understand where he's coming from if he's saying, hey, I don't know if there's a guy that's in the transfer portal that could start. But on the other hand, at least he said, hey, if there's something that's out there, then Clemson they're going to go try and go and get it. The reality is that what he said is correct. When you have guys that leave your program after spring ball, you're going to have to fill in those holes. Is Clemson behind on that front? Yeah, you'd have to say so. Other schools are picking up players left and right, and they're using them across the board. Tennessee ran all over South Carolina with guys with different running backs than they had on the team last year. Of course, Eric Gray's at Oklahoma. He's disappeared. Put him on a milk carton. And then Chandler's up at North Carolina. He had, 60 yards this weekend as they got embarrassed by Florida State. There are teams that I think the transfer portal's a hit and miss kind of thing too. You're going to hit on some guys and you're going to miss on the others. But I think it comes down to a control type aspect with Swinney. He wants to be able to control everything that comes in and out of the program, and he wants to get the players to have the mold that he wants right out of high school all the way up. And if you have coaching from someone else, I'm not saying it's bad coaching, but in my opinion, it's not the way that, I think that Swinney wants it. He'd rather have something that he's going to have guys that he can mold from the beginning and move up. Now, there are going to be a lot of people that are like, hey, he's got to catch up with the times. Yeah, things are different now, though. All right. And those people that are complaining and saying that Dabo's behind, yeah, you're right about that. But his record speaks for itself. The way he's done things has been successful. But great coaches like Nick Saban, they evolve. They figure out, hey, if I can get this or I can make this tweak or that tweak and make my program better, then I will. That's why Toto, the linebacker from Tennessee, is now playing at Alabama. So there's so many different things as you can hash out with that. We'll take your calls on the transfer portal at 803-978-1832. Comments on what Shane Beamer said today, where he basically talked about Vanderbilt and their offense running over Stanford. I understand how you have to do the coach speak type thing. I get that. But in reality, it'd be a huge upset if Vanderbilt came into town this weekend and won. covering the 20-point spread might be hard, but I think that that's the way that it should be. Let's look at chat room idiot for the day. That is SEC Dog. The 2 L's and not a top 25 team does speak for itself. Yes, it does. But the 2 national titles that he's won in the past 5 years, when the Georgia team that you support hasn't won a title in 40 years, says a lot about your program. You are dumb, sir. Log off. It's ignorant, the things that people say. If you have a valid point, then that's fine. But questioning Dabo Swinney or even Nick Saban, Alabama fans are questioning Nick Saban. When you see people that they have a program that's not quite at that level and they're questioning those coaches, it just shows you they don't really know much about the game of hut-hut. They just sit around and pray and hope that their mediocre program can do really well because we play them every now and then, and maybe we can beat them. It's silly. Anyway, we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832. Conference USA is offering a proposal to team up with the AAC to create 2 new conferences. We'll talk about that and the way that this would look. Be a heck of a basketball conference. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome to the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Rob, you said that there were Alabama fans out there questioning Saban. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Gee, I hadn't heard of any. I don't know who you might be speaking
that's
of.
because you're not on social media, sir. You should get with the times.
No, I was obviously being sarcastic. I've heard one particular.
I missed your sarcasm there, but yeah, there are Alabama fans that are. I've seen some fire Nick Saban chants, and then they're upset with their defensive coordinator too, which,
yeah,
I don't get all that.
Well, I kind of called. It's not often that a couple of your callers will kind of outdumb you, Rob, but that did happen yesterday. This smokes grass sports media, this Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
He continues to use the transitive property in college football, which is the mark of an idiot.
Right.
He went on and on about Georgia only beating Clemson by 7 points, whatever it was. Do you realize they have won almost every single one of their games by 1 score so far?
What, the Clemson team? Yeah. And
the
Kentucky
team.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think you have to give new fans a little bit of slack there, sir. And what I mean by that is that Kentucky has been god awful for years. Their fans don't know how to deal with football. You know that. They're hot dog water, man. Seriously.
Kentucky is famous for 2 things: incest and horrible college football.
Okay.
I can't explain this kind of stupidity. It is the bourbon state. Maybe he's got fetal alcohol syndrome. I really don't. I don't get it. But listen, the other thing, unfortunately, Hollywood felt the need to open his gigantic yapper yesterday and dared to call my name out. When I want to make something clear, obviously this man has been drinking too much swamp water down there in Duval. When I talked about the Jacksonville Jinx, sir, it's got nothing to do with the quality of your program, which is a trash can. He goes on and on about 1980. Do you realize we're coming up on 15 years since Florida's won a conference title? Let that sink in. And in that time, they've got 2 4-win seasons. 2 4-win. In the meantime, Georgia's got a playoff win, a national title appearance, a conference championship, yet he is still running his mouth. Hollywood.
I didn't know about the 15-year thing, but I mean, they've got the Muschamp stench on them down there. I mean, Muschamp ruined that program, so.
Well, all I know is he's been pure magic in Athens. Kirby plus Muschamp equals natty, sir.
Well, until we see that, I'll have to yield to you on that, but we haven't seen it yet, so we'll see.
Well, we'll see it in January. 43-18, Rob.
Have a great day, sir. All right, one more call before we get out of here. Welcome to the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going, Rob?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, listen, I want to talk about Dabo and this transfer portal.
Yeah, what you got?
I don't understand the negativity with it. I think there's more pros than cons to the transfer portal and getting good, experienced players. And if you can do that, why not win? This culture thing of his is just being silly. Like how you make a good culture is you win with good, experienced players. Why can't he get that?
Well, I think that under his logic that he's had a good culture there. They have won a lot of games, and bringing someone else in, I don't know if he thinks that that'll mess up what he's got. And when you bring somebody in too, you got to look at it from this perspective. If you've been coaching somebody up for say 2-3 seasons, and you bring someone else in and say, I brought this guy in to basically replace you, that can kill some locker rooms in theory. I mean, I can understand that, but if you're trying to put the most amount of talent out on the field, I think he understands that now, where you're going to have to utilize that transfer portal because there's going to be talent there.
Well, just I don't get the culture thing with what he's saying with Clemson, I guess, because I just think the experience of what these guys bring to the table playing at another program, you don't have to. It's different than getting a freshman 18 coming out of high school. I mean, you're getting guys that have played in the program. They've gone through the academics. They know how to come in and just have a business mindset about things. I mean, why would you not want that on your team? I just don't get it.
Well, I think he's going to eventually have to learn. As I said, great coaches evolve. And, like Nick Saban's a perfect example of this. Nick Saban wants to win games with defense, run a pro-style offense, and beat you, 30-7 or something like that, instead of having, put up 45 points a game and hope your defense can hold. It's just a different game now. And Nick Saban was smart enough to know that, and that's why they're still winning a lot of games.
Yeah. All right, man, I'll let you go.
Appreciate it. All right, quick break. We come back. We'll have more for you here on The Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. I don't block anyone. That's a great point, Wyatt. Competition, not a value of Clemson. That's good. I don't block anyone. I don't know. Fireball, I don't know who would win that game with Clemson and Tennessee. I really don't know. I think the Clemson defense could hold them in check because I think the Clemson defense is good, but I don't know for sure. No, I don't like Tiger Woods. Respect Tiger Woods, but look, I goofed on you Tennessee fans for a bit, but the reality is what Heupel has done with the lack of scholarships that he has is pretty impressive. I don't know. I don't have cockroaches in the desert, Brent. That's funny. I don't hate anyone. Let's make sure we put that out there. I have zero hate in my heart, ladies and gentlemen. I can't read that, Randall. I wish I could read that on the air. That's really funny. Oh, man. Let me add that. Wow. I appreciate you like the show, Tennille. I try to do a different show. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to talk just a quick second about the stuff with Gruden out in Las Vegas. You know, the thing that gets me, first of all, anything that you put out there, it can be taken out of context. I'm not saying that his stuff was, but the society we live in now, if you put something out there, it could come back and bite you in a matter of seconds. Okay? So, with that, he resigned. He wasn't fired. He probably saw the writing on the wall. But here's the thing that is annoying. If you turn on the 4-letter network, whatever, all of these people that were running their mouths and basically piling on John Gruden. Look, I understand it's a news story when one of the 32 NFL coaches quits in the middle of the season. I get that. But to have everybody and their brother basically coming out and railing on this guy, we get it. He screwed up. I don't agree with what he did. Okay? He resigned. It's a move on type thing. The problem is that those same people that were jumping on him and acting stupid, and I say acting stupid because the constant, oh, he's this and he's that and everything else, 3 weeks ago, they were loving him. Oh, he's got a great offensive mind. He was on ESPN and doing quarterback camp. Remember those shows where he would sit down with quarterbacks and everything was, he was looked at as just this offensive mastermind and everybody loved him. Here's the thing. If you are a racist person, which is what some of the stuff in his email came out to be, that's going to eventually show out anyway. You think those people didn't know this before? The people who enabled John Gruden to be the guy that he was and to have those comments that were out there, which, by the way, when the Raiders turn over several hundred more emails, maybe there's a little more to it than we know. I don't know. I haven't read all the emails. But the same people that were throwing rocks at him today were thinking that he was an absolute gem a month ago. Now, I say that because there's going to be a John Gruden resurrection tour. And what does that mean? Give him a year, and he'll be on somebody's network. He's already apologized. He said last night, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt anybody. As Americans, we are in the avenue of, we love the redemption story. We love it when guys come back. And John Gruden will make a comeback. Why? Because he is a great offensive mind. He won a Super Bowl at Tampa Bay before Tampa Bay, was with Tom Brady, for goodness sake. When they were the Buccaneers, not far after that, and they were terrible. I'm not saying he's a great coach, but he's entertaining when you watch him. And those same people, they want to throw rocks real quick. Let's go out to the phones, 803-978-1832. Welcome into the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Glad to talk about John Gruden.
Go ahead.
Well, you just said that John Gruden will be making a comeback. There's no way in Hades John Gruden's going to make a comeback from this.
Why is that?
I mean, he did the trifecta. Okay, he anti-women, anti-gay, racist. No way. In fact, if he's probably going to find a rock somewhere up in the Appalachian Mountains and hide under it for several years. Or I believe the Bolivian soccer team is offering him a job where they're going to pay him $3 annual American to go down and coach there. But Gruden is never, ever going to be on any network, TV, ever again.
I would
And if
like
you
to see,
believe that I've got some great swampland in Florida I'd love to show you. Right.
well, let me explain to you why I think that he'll be back. Do you remember Art Briles?
No.
Yeah, Art Briles coached at Baylor, and they had a rape culture at Baylor. They were literally like, rape was basically okay at Baylor. He went off for a while, came back. Now he's coaching in high school. Rick Pitino cheated.
In high school.
Right.
What you just said?
But let me finish. Rick Pitino cheated, had strippers and lap dances and everything going on at Louisville, basically had a national title tarnished. He went to Greece, coached a while. Now he's back and he's coaching at a D1 level. Almost took Alabama out of the NCAA tournament last year. I'm just saying, I think people can rebound.
That's apples and oranges, Rob.
Yeah.
Okay, strippers in Louisville versus racist, anti-women, anti-gay. That's a trifecta. You can't do that in this day and age and come back and have a career. There's just no way. Gruden is done. He's gone. It's sad, but that's just what's going to happen. He's not going to be, no one will touch him to be on any network for anything, for any reason anymore.
Well, we shall see. I think eventually maybe he'll get a spot being an analyst or something else, but you may be right with the trifecta thing. We can agree to disagree on that, but as far as him coming back, but yeah, you're right. When you insult three groups of people like that, sometimes it's hard to come back.
Not in this day and age. No, you can't. You just can't do that. All right, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. If you want to talk about John Gruden, 803-978-1832. I just wanted to put that out there because I think what he did was, silly. He thought that someone, like, he could send an email and all of a sudden that email goes up and it goes into a virtual shredder and all of that's going to go away. John Gruden was like that. No, it's not like that, man. Can't do that. You can't make comments like that, especially when you're one of the 32 coaches in the NFL. 803-978-1832. Quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. That would actually be kind of funny when you really think about it. What's up, Brent? Daniel's got a good point. Alan, if you want to talk about the FPI, go look at it. Yeah, Beamer's not going anywhere. If you have something to say about the FPI, have at it. I don't care. You can call it with whatever you want. What's up, Go Bucks? Yeah, I don't think anybody's really questioning Alabama like falling off the face of the planet. Hey, I've got a perfect bet for you there, Mr. Bluegrass Sports Media. You should bet with Beg and Megan. We'll change your YouTube handle for a couple of days to Smokegrass Sports Media if you guys don't cover the spread. See, and then Beg and Megan can have something cute for his, like, I don't know. Call his YouTube handle Will Muschamp's Undercarriage or something. I think if Georgia wins a national title, Beggin' Megan will sit in a corner and cry. I really do. And then he'll have me on speed dial, just dying to call into the show. What is that 1989? Ugh. That's what and I'll take the call, but it'll be funny. Well, welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeart Radio app. Couple of questions for you this afternoon at 803-978-1832. Do you think John Gruden will resurface? Caller we had just a minute ago said, yeah, he's not going to get a job anywhere. I've seen where people have had the opportunity to revitalize their career in certain spots. Now, granted, they didn't do exactly what John Gruden did, but people have overcome a lot and they get an opportunity to come back. I think someone in the chat room, I can't remember who it was, but wouldn't it be interesting if John Gruden decided, hey, I want to be an offensive coordinator, or to revitalize his coaching career, goes down to Nick Saban's coach revitalization camp, where he takes in all the strays that have failed in other spots, revitalizes them, and sends them on their way. Wonder if that could happen or not. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call. Do you think he's done? I think everyone loves a good comeback story. I really do. And the other thing that I had in my notes today, if you call the program, I'm going to ask you this too. I think with the way that Alabama played this past weekend and the fact that Iowa is what they are, which is a team that, in my opinion, is highly overrated, are we at the point now where it's Georgia and then everyone else? And is there a team out there that can square off with Georgia and beat them? Let's not go with this whole thing of we're going to try to be trolling this team or that team or whatever. Just from you line them up on a neutral field and X team can go beat Georgia. If you've watched any of the Georgia games, they're making a hell of an argument to say it's pretty much them and everybody else. Out to the phones we go. And welcome to the rundown.
Hey, this is the Biscuit. How you doing?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, I was just talking about you were talking about Gruden.
Yeah.
Anyone who is in one of those three groups and is offended by what he said, I completely understand that. People, especially in John Gruden's position, should never say something like that. Just simply, even if you believe that, just from an intelligence standpoint in this day and age.
Right.
But we have a problem in our country where we're now analyzing what everyone does throughout their entire life, going back and nailing senators for something they did when they were 17 years old. And it's gotten absolutely out of hand. What we should do is we should be offended when his belief system manifests itself to where it demeans or affects other people in those groups. And he hasn't, as far as I know, he hasn't demonstrated that. So if we continue down this path, everyone's always going to be offended about what anyone says at any time. And I'm not saying what he said was okay. I'm not at all saying that. I'm not condoning it or anything.
Right.
But we don't want to become police where we're running around trying to find you get mad at somebody at work and you're running around trying to find emails that can be interpreted as something bad, and then you throw them at them.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. One thing that they've never questioned about with John Gruden is that he wanted to win. And it didn't matter who was out there on the field. He wants to win. So I think that you mentioned putting those practices onto the team. I don't really think that was there. I think he was just stupid and said stupid things and did it in an environment where you can't use those stupid terms, and ended up biting him in the butt.
Right, because I'm willing to bet if you went to the people of those groups, he's probably worked most directly with black guys, right? I mean, out of the three groups, that would be the one. And I'm not sure, I don't know him personally, but I'm sure the majority of the guys that play under him would come to bat for him.
Well, I haven't been completely on it, but I mean, have we seen a player
itself into them feeling like they were treated wrong?
Right. That's what I'm saying. If we had players that have come out and said it,
when you're like that,
yeah, it'll eventually come. You're right. I agree with you. I'm
not defending him because I don't care about him. I'm actually tired of hearing about him. I've been hearing Tennessee fans talk about how he was going there. I've got LSU fans now telling me he's going there. I mean, I personally think he's a bit overrated, to be honest with you. I don't think he's as great as everyone thinks he is. But, that's my take on that.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling the program.
Yeah, talk to you later.
All right, well, there you go. And, of course, we'll take your calls on that at 803-978-1832. Daniel with a good comment online. Tony Dungy set up that Super Bowl for Tampa Bay. Gruden, English, Rob, learn to speak before you open the microphone. Just closed on what he built. That's a very fair statement, too. Very fair statement, too. And let's be honest. The Raiders haven't exactly been like a beat down the world team here. Just saying. 803-978-1832. Final segment of the show. When we come back, this is Fox Sports Radio 1400. We live in that society now where you can get canceled for just about anything. The only thing that I'm anti against is just if you come across as like uninformed, that just bugs me. I don't want to deal with stupid people. You can have a different opinion than I have, but if you're shown something and it's, galactically different than what you're trying to push and you keep coming at me with the other thing, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Alan, the phone number's there, you goofball. That's off the top rope, begging Megan. I don't know what tiers will be funnier. The tiers if Georgia loses this season and doesn't win the national title, or the tiers when they win and Beggin' Megan calls the show and he just cries like, we've never seen this before. It's like a guy that like didn't get to meet his dad, and 40 years ago his dad went away. And then all of a sudden his dad comes back 40 years later. And he comes up and he gives old Beggin' Megan a little tussle on his forehead and says, hello there, Beggin' Megan. I'm your pop. Beggin' Megan bursts into tears. Cries like someone took his Christmas pie. I don't know which one will be funnier. I really don't. It's going to be funny either way. In fact, I don't bet on much. But I think if Georgia wins, Beggin' Megan will cry on this show. They win the national title. He might cry. That actually might happen. Now, if Georgia loses to, I don't know, Florida, I might cry because I will laugh myself silly. I will laugh myself into tears one way or the other. Dabo's TikTok is garbage. Very good, ma'am. We'll leave that there for a minute. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeart Radio app. We played comments earlier from Coach Shane Beamer. Also, Dabo Swinney going off on the transfer portal, saying the transfer portal is not why they're 3-2. Nothing in the transfer portal could have made them anything other than 3-2. I agree with him on that, but I do think he's got to get to a point where it's like, you know what? We should probably look into that, and we'll see how that works out. If you missed all of that, don't worry. Podcast is up at 5:00 today. You can go and check it out on the podcast there. It'll have all the comments from Coach Dabo Swinney. Also, his press conference is up on my blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. You can go and watch the whole thing. I mean, I did that for you and pulled out the best content today and put it on the show. If you want to go watch the full 48 minutes of Dabo Swinney talking about Syracuse and how Syracuse is a program that Clemson has to be wary of, it's there for you. Shane Beamer's press conference will be there for you by 5:00 today as well on the blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. All of that's there for you. Just go and check it out. The other question we'll have for you today is, has it gotten to a point this season where it's Georgia and everybody else? And let's slow down for a second, too. My Twitter feed was full of people saying, Georgia hasn't played anybody. I get railed by Georgia fans daily over here in the chat room. They despise me, and I'm fine with that. So I'm saying this next line knowing that they're going to hate me regardless. But the reality is, what the hell do you expect Georgia to do? If you think Clemson is still garbage and that wasn't a quality win, I can't help you. Read a book. Find Football for Dummies and read it. If you think that wasn't a quality win, please. If you think that the win over where they stomped the team at home, Arkansas at home, if you don't think that was a good win, let me know about that. What do you expect them to do? I don't get it. If you think going on the road to Auburn and winning is not a good win, and not only going down there to win, they beat the snot out of them. They've given up 2 offensive touchdowns the entire season. And for people to sit there and say, yeah, they haven't played anybody yet, the jury is still out on them. Shut up. Let it go. I don't understand what you want. Look, we can goof and act silly and things like that. But the one thing we've never questioned on this show, there's actually 2 things. We don't question hardware, and we don't question what is real. And what Georgia's done has been real. And they should be respected for what they've done. Simple as that. Alan online says Clemson is not in the top 25. Explain that one. I don't vote in the top 25 poll. If you look at the top 25 poll, I would venture to say, and I haven't looked down towards the bottom, but I don't think in good conscience you could say that Clemson couldn't match up with the teams in that top 25 poll. Maybe not the teams in the top 10 right now, but from 15 down, I think Clemson should be right there. (803-978-1832), 803-978-1832 is the number to call. I think Go Bucks said this yesterday on the program. We have good callers, by the way. Some of them actually are very smart. Some of them are. The folks that are too dumb, they just comment in the chat room, and that's fine. But the people that do call, they're actually pretty smart. Most of them. He said yesterday that rankings shouldn't come out until after week 8. And I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Now, you cannot be a dumb caller because I just put the callers over, but welcome to the program.
Hi, Rob.
Hey, what's up?
I've been hearing a lot of talk about James Franklin and the USC job and the LSU job that's not
Yeah.
yet open. What do you think about that?
I think that James Franklin he won at Vanderbilt, for goodness sakes, had them playing respectable football, has done good stuff at Penn State, and I think he can go coach wherever he wants. So if he wants to leave Penn State, which I don't know why you would want to leave there. I mean, but I mean, I guess if you have the opportunity to go and coach at Southern Cal, okay. If you want to go coach at LSU, which I think LSU is one of those top 10 jobs in the country, to be honest with you.
Do you think that he's done enough at Penn State? I mean, because they haven't even played for a conference championship.
And that's fair, but they're still one of the more respected programs in the country. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they finish in the top 25 every year. I mean, they're a good program. It's not like they're garbage. I mean, it's not like he's doing what Ed Orgeron's doing down at Ed Orgeron is 8-8 since they won the national title. Wrap your head around that for a second. I think they're 8-8. They win a national title, and in their next 16 games, they're 8-8. That is not very good. So, yeah.
And who is your front runner right now for the Heisman? Is there one?
Oh, man. I don't really like the Heisman because I think the Heisman's a pretty boy award. They just give it to, let's give it to a quarterback or let's give it to a run. I kind of got off the Heisman train when they didn't give it to Ndamukong Suh. His last year at Nebraska, he should have won the Heisman Trophy, but it's all a bunch of pretty boys voting for running backs and quarterbacks. I mean, you can insert whoever, in my opinion. I mean, there's plenty of guys that are in the mix that I guess deserve to be the pretty boy quarterback award, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to keep up with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't heard anybody getting any traction on who's going to be the leading candidate.
Yeah.
And do you think Urban Meyer lasts a year there at Jacksonville? What he's got going on?
I think Urban Meyer sent an edible arrangement. They don't sponsor the show, but they should. Call 343-1100 so you can sponsor the show. I think he sent an edible arrangement to John Gruden because now nobody cares about what's going on with Urban Meyer. It's just John Gruden's a racist. They'll go on that for about a little bit, and then maybe Jacksonville wins this weekend, and everybody will talk about a breath of fresh air that Urban Meyer is. I don't know.
I just don't think Jacksonville's going to win this weekend.
I don't think Jacksonville's going to win ever. I mean, seriously, I don't think they're going to win ever. They're not going to be a valid team, man. They had Tom Coughlin in there, and they tried that, and they're just not a very good franchise.
What do you think about the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers going there? Joe Brady with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, that might work out, but I don't know, man. I think Jacksonville is just a gong show of a football franchise right now. And I don't know if anybody can go in there and fix it, to be honest with you.
Well, my Panthers aren't doing too well under Joe Brady. But considering what he's got to work with, turnover machine there.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, I've got to go to the end of the show, but I appreciate you calling, all right? Thank you. All right, there you go. All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow here on the Rundown. We'll break down some more of the Syracuse-Clemson matchup. And I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Would you take Georgia or the field, basically? Because I think Georgia's that far ahead of everybody else. We'll be back at it tomorrow here on the Rundown, of course, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. All right, appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, all right? Very good point there, Go Bucks. Yes, sir. All right, see you guys tomorrow.